Hi everyone, this is Dreas, and I'd like to welcome you back to another EcoShare. I'm out here in the high desert of southern Idaho, and I'm super stoked for today's episode because I get to introduce you to one of my absolute favorite creatures, a really smelly creature, a creature called sagebrush.
There are about 20 species of sagebrush. In this video, we'll mostly be seeing big sagebrush, Artemisia tridentata. This is not only one of the most common species of sage, but it's also one of the most common species of plants throughout the American West. In fact, it provides a food and habitat to countless birds, insects, mammals, and even other plants. Let's take a closer look. We see that each leaf has 3 lobes at the end, which is how it got its Latin name, Artemisia tridentata. The hairs on the leaves trap moisture and deflect wind, heat, and direct light, which would otherwise increase moisture loss. Sage also has woody stems. This is a costly adaptation, but it is necessary for protection in an environment where winds can be high and there are no shortage of predators hoping for a vegetable snack. Sage is perhaps best known for its strong aroma. Its smell comes from essential oils within the plant tissue, and it is one of its adaptations to discourage herbivores from predating on the plant. Sagebrush can be up to 3 meters tall, but smaller when there is less water present. In fact, the size of the plant is a pretty good indicator of soil moisture content, with plants growing larger when there is more water available in the soil, and shorter when there is less water available. Sage benefits from 2 distinct types of roots. It has these lateral roots which catch surface rainfall, but it also has a deep taproot up to 4 meters in length, which draws up water from deep below. Other plants take advantage of this, and you'll see them growing in and amongst sagebrush in an attempt to get some of the water that sage draws up.
One of the reasons I have a deep connection with this plant is because they grow prolifically in the park where I first learned to become an environmental educator.
As we stated earlier, sage is one of the dominant species across the American West, covering almost 500,000 square miles. Because of this, many creatures have adapted to a sage-dominant ecosystem. However, this ecosystem is changing. For example, sage is not a fire-tolerant plant, and after a large fire event, it depends on wind-blown seeds from outside the burn area in order to reestablish. Human settlement and agriculture, however, have destroyed large areas of sagebrush ecosystems. This has introduced invasive species, particularly grasses, which are now changing the fire ecology of this ecosystem. Grasses are more effective at reestablishing after a fire event, so each fire season we are seeing more and more invasive grass species outcompeting sage. The loss of sagebrush means less water is retained, and this leads to more water running over the surface. More surface water means more erosion. More erosion means more sediment being washed into waterways and reduced water quality. There are many uses for sagebrush. Most people know it for its fragrance, but traditional uses include tooth and stomach aches, joint pain, postpartum relief, coughs and colds, purification of living spaces, disinfectant, and to promote hair health. One of the things I love about making these videos is that no matter what plan I might have in my head, I always end up running into something that is so interesting, so unfamiliar to me, that I actually have the opportunity to educate myself about something new and then share what I learn with you all. During my explorations, I started to notice these weird growths on the sage plant. After some searches, I found out that these were called galls. Now, maybe this is something that you all knew about, but this was totally new to me and I was super excited to share about it. Galls are these growths on external plant tissue. You could almost think of them as the plant equivalent to tumors in animals. On sagebrush, galls usually contain the larvae of flies. Yeah, that's right, flies. Flies stimulate the plant to produce gall tissue by chewing and injecting chemical compounds similar to plant hormones. In response, the plant grows an external mass of plant tissue into which the flies are able to insert their eggs. Once inside, it's the perfect conditions for an insect to grow. There are proteins, sugars, and a continuously moist environment. One thing I found really interesting is that galls are specific in shape, size, and color, meaning that you can identify the type of insect that is within the gall just by looking at the gall itself. But wait, it gets even more wild. Some insects act as parasites and will lay their larvae inside the larvae that are already within the gall. And then, if it wasn't wild enough, there are hyperparasites that will lay their larvae within the larvae that were already in the larvae of the gall. Nature is just amazing. Thanks for joining me for today's EcoShare. I hope you learned something about sagebrush, but even more than that, I hope this video inspired you to go out and take a closer look at the plants and other creatures in the area where you live. What could you learn today?